that real route to the revenue, which we're going to be concentrating on today. So you heard a little bit about us there at the very, very beginning. My name is Chris Brandt. I'm the founder and director of Unmissable England. We work with tourist organisations like Cotswolds Tourism and district councils all across England in helping them to create and working with their businesses, helping them to create bookable experiences, but also helping them to reach new customer bases, including walkers and cyclists and other active travel users, amongst other things. And introduce you to Sean. Well, Sean will introduce himself now, if that's okay, and he'll tell you about himself.
Yep, of course. Sean Murray, founder of the retail practice, a lifelong retailer, having worked for various large brands, including Tesco for 7 years. About 2010, I decided to do it myself, and I now help retailers large and small with marketing, branding, and communication. Particular passion for helping independents and startups try and make a living in these challenging times. And Oxfordshire, born and bred, so I do know the Cotswolds well as both a place to live and play. So delighted I can hopefully share some of my insights along my journey and help anyone who's listening in today.
Thanks, Sean. Anybody joining us live, you might want to use the chat feature in this webinar and ask questions to Sean, especially with his expert retail experience on how you can actually reach those customers in walkers and cyclists if you've got any retail offer in your venues as well, because make use of Sean today, put him on the spot as well. So this webinar is a series of 5 sessions. We've had 4 already. So if you are new to this series, then I really encourage you to actually join our previous sessions, which can be viewed online. They include looking at marketing generally to businesses here in the Cotswolds. So if you're a business here in the Cotswolds area and you're looking to reach customers generally, that webinar workshop one's really useful, of course. If you're looking to target more the romance and travel markets and couples, etc., workshop 2 will be for you, and workshop 3 was very much about attracting family audiences and group travel as well. So that's one to check out. And of course, today is all about walking and cycling. So this is the agenda for our webinar. It's about 45 minutes, so it's really targeted and a real good overview of the benefits and how to reach different walking and cycling markets. So we'll look at those benefits, we'll understand how to reach those audiences, what you can do as an organization, business in providing for your target audience. We'll look at the customer journey, because that's so important when we're talking about how to reach and market to these groups. And also we'll look and just touch on how you could possibly package an experience as well. And we'll end with the all-important checklist as well. So we know there's lots of benefits when it comes to walking and cycling here in the Cotswolds. We know it's an all year round activity. So that's one thing we want you to really take home today. It's not just about walking and cycling in summer or this springtime. There's benefits to the Cotswolds to do this all year round, and that is already happening. So let's take that as an opportunity to do more of that. So in 2024, this is nationally, 4.12 billion visits were done to were made to the natural environment in the UK last year. So it's a real important asset of the UK's tourism offer. That's not just domestically, but that's also internationally. It's worth £47 billion to the tourism and outdoor leisure sector here in the UK. That was back in 2021. That's the latest figures. Obviously, that has grown a lot since the pandemic, since COVID-19. We've seen a real boost since that as well. And 37% of visits by international visitors to the United Kingdom account for walking. That's not including cycling. So that's kind of walking holidays or doing some walking activity on their break to the UK as well. And of course, with the Cotswolds' amazing and diverse landscape, there's real opportunity here for cycling and walking, of course. And it can really extend the tourism season, as I said at the very start. It's an all year round offer. It's good for the environment, of course, reduces pollution, gets people to use active travel modes and to move around the Cotswolds in a different way, therefore taking more cars off the road, which then creates a better experience for everyone. and can really enhance as well the offer. So my background, I've worked for the Cotswolds National Landscape, previously known as the AONB, and there's a real push over the last 10 years or so to really make the Cotswolds National Landscape stand out as a walking and cycling destination because of that diverse landscape. Yes, we've got good hills and good climbs, but we haven't got those big mountains like the Lake District or Peak District, which brings us a really open offer and diverse offer to a really mixed audience of people in different backgrounds and ages as well. So there's lots of benefits, as I'm sure you're not surprised. There's lots of benefits of walking and cycling. Just going to pause for our first activity. I just want you to think about what are the benefits to your business, to your organization. So it's really just thinking about what are the benefits walking and cycling can do for your organization. We've got the chat feature for those joining us live in the session today, so you can put your ideas into the chat feature and the chat window on your screen, and please just share with others your thoughts on what are those benefits to your business. I'm just going to pause just for 1 second while you do that. So you might have benefits that you might be a pub or a restaurant, and actually you find actually in your quieter times in the week or in the mornings or late afternoons, you might have a group of walkers or cyclists that come in. Therefore, there's a benefit there for you to actually offer something to that particular audience, and how you might be able to actually improve that and offer more to that particular potential audience that are coming already. So something like that. There's no wrong answers here.
We've got Guyton Guest House have already put in the chat, thank you, that increased bookings for accommodation.
Absolutely, really important for accommodation. Brilliant. You can add to that as we go through the session today. So here are just some broader benefits. Probably you are highlighting when you're thinking through this process. Obviously, importantly, it's about increased revenue. So it's going to bring more money into your business, really important, but also targeting a more diverse customer base as well. So and we've said this a lot in our previous sessions, instead of saying my organization, my business is for everyone, it's really good to target a particular group of people or market or reach that you're trying to gather. So actually by saying, yes, we're really going to target our customer base on walking and cycling, that will help you actually target these customers. It can enhance your reputation as well. So if you are really attractive to a particular market, an audience, and you're doing something really well, that can enhance your reputation as well. So if you've got more services, you're really catering for the needs of your walkers and cyclists, it can enhance your reputation, but also the broader reputation of your area, of your town, of your village, and of the Cotswolds as well. So where we see more product meeting the needs of those customers, those walkers and cyclists, they increase the reputation for your business and for the area. We touched on it before. It's obviously good for the planet. It's good for the environment locally and globally. So it's a good part of your sustainable tourism offer. And the Cotswolds being a sustainable tourism destination, we want to see more and more active travel modes of products across the Cotswolds as well. There are some really fantastic opportunities when working in collaboration, working in partnership with others. So you don't have to do this all by yourself. You can work with others. So if you're looking to design a tour or an experience or an activity, you might not have everything that you need in order to build that experience or that tour. But by working with other local businesses in your patch, you can create a really authentic experience that is really targeted to walkers and cyclists. And we'll come back onto that at the end of the session today. And importantly, it can increase the length of stay to visitors as well. So where we see more product in a destination, the more reason people can extend their stay and then stay longer. Therefore, they're going to spend more as well. So if you've got activity or you're really meeting the needs of walkers and cyclists, then they're going to hopefully stay that bit longer as well. So there are plenty of benefits that are broader for the area, but particularly for your business as well. Our second activity is just to think about what is on your doorstep. So I mentioned, the Cotswolds is a national landscape, an area of outstanding natural beauty. There's over 3,000 miles of public right-of-ways across the Cotswolds, so stretching from Warwickshire down to Wiltshire, through Gloucestershire and obviously Oxfordshire as well. So there is plenty of footpaths and bridleways, but just think about what's on your doorstep. So if you're an accommodation business, you might have a footpath that is, adjacent to your property. And you might have a fantastic country park, or you might have a beautiful piece of ancient woodland in walking distance. Just pause and think about what is available on your doorstep. You might have seen these Cotswolds maps with the cycling tours and different cycling routes across the Cotswolds. You might have a national cycle route that passes your venue. Do you know about it? And if so, do you communicate that to your visitors before and during their visit? So it's good just to pause and just have a think about the different opportunities and destinations that are around your business. And again, please feel free to pop those into the chat window and share with others.
Your question, Chris, reminded me of, one of the behaviours that people noticed in COVID, where a lot of people began to discover their local community for the first time. There was real evidence that people were suddenly realising there were really beautiful walks, right on their doorstep that they'd never seen before.
Absolutely. And we find often when we work with businesses that they know about those incredible footpaths or that great view around the corner. And they're very good at communicating that to guests when they're in destination, when they come and visit and they come and stay. But they might not be telling the customer before their visit.
Yeah.
So they're not putting it generally in their marketing and their communications. And that might be the reason for their stay, especially when you're targeting walkers and cyclists, because they're going to think, actually, I can start my day, I can start my tour, I can start my walk from this place to that place. So the logistics really helps and encourages that person or that group to make that booking in the first place as well. So absolutely right. It's just kind of thinking about what the offer is and then how you communicate that. So let's look at our different markets then. We're going to take them one by one. First of all, looking at the walkers in walking tourism. And we have a number of different leisure walking segments that come and use the Cotswolds. So we have enthusiasts, we have the adventurers, we have the explorers, the day trippers, the groups, and the dog walkers as well. So a real complex mix of different people and groups coming to use the Cotswolds for walking activities. If we concentrate first of all on the enthusiast, this is exactly what it says on the tin. These are the people that really are into walking. They prefer long distance walking. They like long distance challenges. They make up 10% of the market generally here in the UK as well. Now they tend to like doing big kind of long distance mountain walks, etc. So you are likely to find them doing kind of the Peak District and the Lake District, etc. But they do come to the Cotswolds. They're not the main market coming to the Cotswolds. Nonetheless, if they are local to it or they want a weekend break, they are potentially coming as well. So it is an audience you might want to think about. They're very budget focused. They're looking potentially for one night stay. So they're not in destination particularly long. They're not always looking for extra activities or experiences or stops at museums. They're often looking to spend most of the day outdoors, having a long walk. So refreshment breaks are limited and they're quick because they want to move on to their next place. The adventurer will spend more time dwelling. So again, this is around kind of long distance walks, but with a mix of activity. So they might be walking, they might be cycling, they might be looking for some climbing or other adventure sports or doing some paddle boarding or something like that in destination. So their primary activity, their primary focus is the activity, but it can be multiple activities as well. They tend to be younger. They are obviously nature lovers as well. So they might be looking, as I say, for those other nature kind of active adventure activities to include in their stay. Now, the biggest market, the biggest segment coming here to the Cotswolds is our explorers. Typically, it's 45 years over, so we often call them empty nesters. They are couples or small groups. They are looking to do walking. They might be out all day, or they might be out for a couple of hours or half day, but they are looking to have some comfort that is focused on an experience as well. So that will include stops at restaurants, at pubs, at cafes. They enjoy looking and going and visiting to museums, going into gift shops, etc. They're going to spend money in business. So this is a really good audience for you to target because they're already coming to the Cotswolds, whether that's domestic or international. The Cotswolds lends itself really, really well to this audience. So have a think about how you could attract this audience, and we'll share some thinking later in the webinar. Other segments coming to the Cotswolds is our day trippers. So these tend to be people living just on the fringes or outside or inside the Cotswolds. They're casual walkers, so they're not kind of big walkers at all. Might be families, might be couples, might be groups, often multi-generational as well. They prefer a circular walk or a more popular walk on a long distance named trail, for example, like the Cotswold Way, or a smaller, shorter route. But that circular activity is really important because they want to park and they want to have a short walk. They want to also stop for food and drink. Therefore, they want to spend some money in the local businesses. So another target audience for you to tap into, particularly in the kind of quieter time of the traditional tourism season. So this kind of time of the year when they're coming out on a nice Sunday afternoon because the weather's nice. It's a good audience to think about and tap into as well. Often traveling with their dogs as well. Now, the group market is really quite broad. So you could be talking about an organised group of walkers like the Ramblers or the Cotswold Wardens. You could be talking about an international tour company that's bringing people from Germany or from the Netherlands, say, coming to the Cotswolds. So it's very much a planned and pre-booked activity. So if you're a walking guide yourself or you work in this kind of area, then this is a big part of your audience and big part of your market. Typically, they stay in destination 1 to 2 nights, can be a bit longer. They preferred those named walking routes. So the Cotswold Way National Trail is obviously top of their list and other long distance trails and familiar walking routes. Again, circular routes are going to be popular with this group, but really important is the parking as well and the access. So coaches and mini buses, somewhere they can drop off, somewhere they can the coach can stay and park during the group's walking activity as well. They're going to stop obviously in food and drink places as well, but again it's thinking well ahead when these groups are booking, and even before that working with those businesses and organizations that create these organized walks and trips. Our dog walkers we're going to talk about in our next webinar, which is tomorrow morning. So we'll just touch on this really briefly, but it is an audience that does come to the Cotswolds and is in the Cotswolds as well. So catering for dog walkers, we'll spend more time talking about that tomorrow. Our third activity looks at who do you think you're reaching? So we've just gone through the different types of market segments with our walkers. Who do you think are coming to your business, to your organization now? Who are you targeting? Are you going for the adventurer? Are you actually going more for the explorer, the main target for the Cotswolds? Are you more focused around the dog walkers coming to your local business? Just have a think as we pause again. Just think about how you're reaching that and who is coming to your business. I'm sure this is a really good activity for businesses to do, just to kind of have that, because often we as businesses we think walkers are all one type, and the same when we come to cyclists as well, but it's really good, isn't it, to actually really pinpoint the segmentation within a target audience. Sean, I don't know if you heard me on there.
Sorry, no, you cut out.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying
Yeah,
how it's important to really focus on a segmentation
yeah,
within the target
absolutely.
audience.
Yeah. So one of the big drivers of the work we do, particularly with smaller businesses, is to what we say really understand your audience, but also understand your role for them, what they want and need from you. And that really helps build, trust and engagement and a connection, and then gives you very authentic reasons to communicate as well. So, really understanding the needs and wants of those segments is the baseline.
Thanks, Sean. It's really useful. And moving on to cycling. So we have the target audience generally, but we also have those segmentations. So we have our tourists, we have our enthusiasts and casual walkers, as cyclists, sorry, and our day trippers as well. And again, it's the same kind of package that we were looking at before with our segmentation. So our tourists are more the kind of real enthusiasts, the real cyclist that goes out on the road cyclists. They're on the long journeys, on the long routes, traveling from a long distance over a day or so. So these guys, or these guys and women, are really hard to stop in their tracks, literally, because they are outdoors and they will plan ahead where they want to stop and stay to fit in with their day and their itinerary. But again, it's about planning ahead. So if you are a business, a food and drink organization or business, and you actually start seeing these people like drop in on a Saturday morning or a Sunday, and they come in and they want coffee and they want cake. Actually talk to them and find out and try and get to plan with them when they're planning their trip. They might be part of a group. They might arrange these, several times a month, for example, throughout the year. So actually try and engage with them and see if you can actually cater really to their needs. And also, importantly, get that advance warning when they're coming. So you make sure that you have enough coffee and cake as well. So it's important those stops, but they're an audience that's much harder to really target here in the Cotswolds. Nonetheless, they are a big part of the market offer in the destination. Now, our actual enthusiasts are our mountain bikers and our road cyclists as well. They often travel with the bike in the car. They are looking for short breaks, so that can typically be between 1 and 3 nights. But bike storage will be really important, and this goes across the board with all of our segmentation. If the cyclist is staying in destination, they want to have somewhere that's really good to sleep and rest, but really importantly they want bike storage that is really safe. So a lot of the more kind of into cycling somebody is, the more expensive their bike's going to be. So it's really important that their bike has really efficient and safe storage. So again, if you offer this as a business, especially as an accommodation business, you need to be shouting about this in your marketing and comms. You need to be talking about how good your bike storage is and what that actually means. And we'll come on to that shortly as well. So this group's very into their nature, their outdoor activities. Again, they might be looking for other activities to do and other experiences when they're here in the Cotswolds as well. Now, casual cyclists, again, it's our biggest audience coming to the Cotswolds, and we want to grow it, and it is growing as well. So it's much broader. We're talking about holidays, people that are not typically cyclists, but they might be on a cycling holiday, they might be traveling on their own, they might be couples, they might be a family group as well. So there's a whole mix of audience within this segmentation. They might be looking to hire a bike or an e-bike and equipment. So there's various different needs that need to be met with this audience. They prefer the guided and self-guided shorter routes as well, so they're not such that long distance cyclist. They're the main customer group when it comes to e-bikes as well. And I'm really pleased because we're seeing more and more e-bike offer across the Cotswolds in the various different areas. So this group, this segmentation, can hire a bike or go on an e-bike guided tour as well. So food and drink stops are really important. Storage for some of this group obviously will be important if they are traveling with their bikes as well. Our day trippers, they're coming in from our towns and our cities. Again, they might be coming in for an afternoon or for a weekend break. Again, it might be a group activity as well. So tapping in, just like with the walking groups and the tour guides and all that kind of thing, guided cycle groups as well. Actually reaching out to find out where they are and where they might go, and if they might stop at your business, or you can work in partnership with them in some way as well. Coffee and cake with most of these groups does matter, and having that flexible offer of when you can eat and drink as well. Just pausing again, just thinking, who are you reaching when it comes to cycling? Are you seeing more of those casual? Are you getting more of the tourists that are stopping? You know, are you on a good cycle route for those tourists and those road cyclists, and maybe even the enthusiasts? Just think who you're already reaching and who you would like to actually reach a little bit more of as well.
It's also worth highlighting reaching out to the local cycle clubs that might be near you. So, you know, Frank, you've got the North Cotswolds Cycle Club that head out on a regular sort of twice a week, I think. So again, just think who's around you. And I've put some links in. I'll continue putting some more links in for you. Can see Frank is typing.
And I think the point of reaching out to groups, it reminded me of your earlier point, Chris, on partnerships and collaborations, because as well as being able to offer your visitors a more enhanced package, you can also ride on each other's customer bases as well and marketing, because actually, you know, you can market to their database and vice versa. So you extend your reach. So lots of advantages of joining with other people. So again, the expression we use is 1 and 1 equals 3.
Yeah.
So Frank has put a question in, day tripper cyclists, do they come distances by train? So I know a little bit about this. It is quite difficult to get bikes booked on trains. GWR are definitely offering that service more and more, and so we're starting to see people come out of London, and I know I've met cyclists that have come out of London on a Sunday and then are cycling back home. So they come into the Cotswolds and then on the train line and then cycle back home. So I think there is definitely more of a movement to do things like that from a day perspective, but obviously we're trying to encourage holidays as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the rolling stock of trains improves gradually across the country as well, I mean, on the North Cotswold line, you've got new electric trains. There is a bit more space for bikes on there. And again, you know, we're seeing that in other parts as well. So it's about often it's about the space, actually, the physical space on trains. Nonetheless, they are coming, especially from London, as you say, Frank. Just quickly, equestrian tourism is a growing segmentation across England, but also in the Cotswolds as well. So these are the horse riders. Riding holidays equates to 20% of the market in horse riding as well. So it's an offer. This comes, you know, with a bit of a note to say, actually, you know, this is very much specialist. So you know, if you've got stables, if you offer kind of riding experiences, or you work with horse riders in this area, then this is a potential audience. If this is new to you, then this is a big area to break into. But nonetheless, if it is something that you are kind of linked to, then it's definitely something worth doing here in the Cotswolds, because it is a growing audience that we're seeing. So how do you actually welcome and provide for your target audiences? So if we take all the segmentation groups that we've looked in walking and cycling, and how do we actually look at saying, come and visit? This is all about making sure that you're marketing and communicating to these audiences by actually telling them what the offer is. So here are some tips. Use the imagery that actually shouts out and says, walkers are welcome in your messaging. So this is about your website, having a website page that's all dedicated about walkers. You need to provide them with the public transport information. You need to tell them about parking, where they can't park, and all the details around that. You need to shout about the food and the drink and the special offers. And if you're offering, or if you know somebody's offering special walking tours or experiences, that all needs to be in your publicity. So this is the kind of the basic where we want to start with businesses. A lot of you are doing this already, but it's worth just doing a bit of an audit on your own comms, on your own publicity, on your leaflets, and especially on your website and social media to make sure that you are talking to walkers and you have a page that's dedicated to them. Again, similar for dog walkers, and we'll spend more time on this tomorrow. When it comes to cyclists, again, it's very similar. You need to be talking to them. So you need to be using language like come and cycle to us, have a page on your website, talk about those named cycle routes, as well as we've seen talking about the walking routes as well. If you're lucky enough to be on a national cycle network or a named route, then talk about that and talk about how close you are. Really importantly, as we mentioned before, if you offer bike storage, which you probably need to be doing if you're really trying to particularly target the cycling group that they're staying, or if they're eating with you, they want to have some safe storage where they can reliably have their bike looked after during their visit or stay. Promote kind of e-bike charging points as well. That's really on the facility to do that, obviously really important for those traveling by e-bike. Going to move on from activity 5 because we don't have enough time to do this, but this will be in the slide deck that's shared with you, so you can do all of these future activities that are coming up in the next part of the session, just to think about what you're doing already and how you're communicating to say come and visit us because we have everything you need. So when it comes to actually about welcoming and providing for that group, when we look at walkers, actually in your building physically, do you have maps and route information? Do you have a designated area that's all about the walker and the cyclist with equipment? Do you have a designated space when they arrive to take off, you know, their coats and dry their coats, and somewhere they can remove their boots as well, and they can actually have their boots, outdoor tap and wash off the mud off their boots if they're on a muddy walk. Somewhere they can refill their bottles with water, providing some of the first aid, suntan cream, all those kind of things. Having snacks available throughout the time. As we know, if you're already catering to walkers and cyclists, they're going to pop up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Your chef's gone home. So you can't offer them lunch. So you've got that really awkward in between time where you're like, oh, we don't actually have the kitchen open at the moment, but we have got something a bit more substantial than a packet of crisps, say. So again, if you're really targeting and you're really focused on getting more walkers and cyclists into your business, then you really need to be catering for their needs as well. And if you're an accommodation business, having flexible check-in and check-out times as well. I have an accommodation business and we offer flexible check-in times because we have a few people that like to come and do a walk, and often they say, oh, can we drop our baggage off first and then we go out for the walk from midday, for example. So again, being flexible, if that's you, then that's really a positive for these groups that are coming.
Chris, quick question. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you touched on it in this one because this is it was on my mind from earlier. The importance of hiring things like hiring bikes as well, is that something that do you think is popular?
Absolutely, yeah. Tapping back into the more casual walker, cyclist. Again, having that facility, talking about that in your marketing and saying, this is where we've got some cycle hire bikes and equipment, importantly, and this is how easy it is to connect them, or providing an encompassing package or an experience, even better, because then you're doing everything for that potential customer as well, and that's more reason for them to come and stay and book in the first place as well. So when you're looking at the cyclist, again, you're talking and you're saying, come and visit because we've got everything you need. So we have a designated cycling area, a safe storage for your bikes, drying space as well. We provide, puncture repair kits, you can charge your bike, and we have everything you need here as well. So it's really about communicating that in order to meet the needs of the cyclist. Again, we're going to scoot across this activity. You're more than welcome to do this through the slide deck in your own time as well. Now, really importantly, it's good to do your homework of your local area. We touched on it at the beginning of today's session, but looking at a Google map or an audience survey map and just looking at how much public rights of way and public footpaths there are in your area, and just doing a write-up on your website and on your socials to explain what there is, taking pictures. There's this fantastic view just near our accommodation or just near our cafe. Again, you're starting to talk to this group of people that love the great outdoors, and they're looking for walking and cycling activities here in the Cotswolds. So how do you exceed expectation for visitors coming to the Cotswolds then? Number one, you and your team and your staff, if you're lucky enough to have staff, need to be really knowledgeable about the local routes. You need to know where it is good to walk and to cycle as well. You can go the extra mile and offer cozy things as well. Just because this folk like to go outdoors, they also like a bit of luxury and warmth as well. So cozy slippers, really cozy mats and things like that in your accommodation. Again, it really leads into that audience as well. Lending boots, we see this a lot in country pubs these days, having a few boots of all different sizes that you can borrow so you can go out for a walk. That taps in really well to our city and people visiting from large cities coming out into the countryside, might not own a pair of boots, but really want to go for a walk. Providing good hot shower equipment and laundry facilities, a foot spa, why not? It's an added extra. Selling local maps and lunch and packed meals, and including breakfast and lunch, is a really nice way to do things. So you might have a group that's going out for an early cycle or walk, therefore they might want a packed breakfast to take off and have on a stop on their way as well. Providing phone charging, e-bike charging, car charging. This is the biggest group of people using and having electric cars, so thinking about that and where they can charge their vehicles as well. Offering baggage transfer, so you might not do this, but you might work with a local baggage transfer company here in the Cotswolds that can move their baggage on. So this works really well on the Cotswold Way. We know there's lots of different organisations that work with some of the accommodation and the attractions on that route or around that route that move their luggage on. So this works really well for an international guest coming to the Cotswolds, doing a long distance walk like the Cotswold Way, where they can stay in multiple different places but have that linear walk experience as well. And encouraging people to stay longer and throughout the year, then promoting kind of rest days and things that people can do, walkers and cyclists can do in their stay. So you can say, actually, we've got this great paddleboarding experience that you can do. You go for an afternoon tea at this big stately home. So actually having a bit of a mix of things is okay as well. It's not just about walking and cycling, it's about offering things around that to encourage that longer stay. Public transport, if you're lucky enough to have a bus service that's nearby, really talk this up and talk about it. Provide a link over to that bus company so they've got the latest information. You don't need to put all the times on your website, because that means that you have to keep it all up to date. And if something changes, then that's an extra task for you. So link off to public transport providers for them to provide the latest information. Connect, as we say, with local guides and partners as well to really reach out, whether that's cycling groups or local walking groups, see what else there is and how you can work in collaboration as well. And list your business on walking and cycling websites and platforms and in magazines as well. That's a really kind of quick win to just kind of get your business on those different platforms as well. A little bit of inspiration as we come towards the end of the session. Bike and Boot Hotels, they have 2 hotels in the UK, one in Yorkshire and Scarborough and one in the Peak District. This is their bread and butter. It's all about the cyclist and walker coming to the great outdoors. They love their whole target audience is that group. So their number one priority is having that secure bike storage. and e-bike charging. There is a place you can even wash your bike. It's very dog friendly, so you have washing areas, not just for the bike, but also for the dog. And why not the kids as well? That they've seen that in Scarborough, the kids coming off the beach. Parents are not just cleaning their dog, they're actually cleaning their children, and so that's actually made the rooms a lot cleaner. So that's actually had a saving on housekeeping as well. So again, it's the facilities. You might not be lucky enough to do this, but if you have an outdoor tap and things like that, then actually provide that in your offer to really meet the needs of this particular group. They have local walking information, they have power showers in all the rooms, they offer sport massages, and really importantly, at 4 p.m. every afternoon, there's complimentary tea and cake. And you can have as much as you like. And that time is really important because it's at 4 p.m. They've been out all day for a long, walk all throughout, throughout the year. The hotel's open, they go out for a long walk, they come back at 4 o'clock, they're hungry, they want something warm, and a tea and cake is a really good way of doing it. So kind of offering something like that is a good offer. Very briefly, this is a campsite in North Wales, really targeting those outdoor audiences in walking and cycling, having the facilities, but not just the facilities, it's also the added extras, the morning yoga classes, the different activities that you can do on site as well. So really tapping into the outdoor activity. And the website links are listed on these slides, so you can take a look for yourself after the session this morning. And finally, our last bit of case study work is Premier Inn. Obviously a huge chain, but they have been really tapping into the walking and cycling audiences for the last 2 years or so. They are talking on their website and in their marketing about actually you can bring your bike into your room. So, how safe is that? How actually sleeping next to your bike is probably the safest way of looking after your bike. So Premier Inn have really tapped into this, especially in some of their rural areas or where they've got their hotels near rural areas. They do offer a bike cleaning service. And I really, if you do ever stay at a Premier Inn, then I encourage you to ask about this because I've never seen this myself. And I think Premier Inn might need to be challenged on this a little bit, but it is something they're tapping into. And there's a few takeaways here for you if you're an accommodation business that you can do as well.
I can vouch
So,
Premier Inn do the bike service.
do you? Do you take your bike for a clean, Sally?
We do.
Good. Well, it is good. It is good that they do that. So just very briefly looking at the customer journey, and we touched on this on our previous sessions as well, but just really broadly, what you're trying to do with the cycling and the walking segments is to get them literally to stop in their tracks. So you need to be talking their language. You need to be talking to them about what you have, what you can provide them. You're meeting their needs. So if that's safe, somewhere safe to store their bike, or you're really close to a public footpath that they can stay and then they can have a good walk, straight after breakfast, you need to be talking about that. So the idea is now to move through that journey. The customers now actually, they're interested. You've spoken to them, they've understood you. They really you're now meeting their needs and they're now wanting to book. Number 3, they've booked, they're coming. They want to know how easy it is to get to you. They want to then check in to make sure that they can do their walk and their cycle that they've heard about in number 1. So they're now actually planning their visit in more detail. So then again, you need to make sure on your website and in your communication when they're booking that they've got all that information. They're here, they're visiting you, they're in destination. So again, you need to be providing, you need to be having those facilities for them in your premises. You need to be touching in with that customer group, making sure that they are, you're constantly meeting their needs. And when they've just visited, they're going to go on social media, no doubt. They're going to be, talking about their experience, their activity, etc. And they're going to be sharing it on social media and in review sites. Number 6, there's an opportunity here to get them to come back. And they can be potentially an ambassador, but also a loyal customer as well. So actually, how can you provide incentives to get them to come back and actually do another bike tour or another walk later in their, in the year or later in their time looking for an experience or holiday? So here's some quick takeaways as well to attract audiences. Looking at your social media, it's all about making that content relevant, using the right imagery, using people that are walking and cycling, going back to the different segmentations that we looked at the start, looking at the audiences. So if you're trying to get more of that kind of casual walker, then that particularly is going to be more of an older group. Therefore, use older people in the pictures, use real photography as well. So go out with some friends and some family and some colleagues and take some pictures for your website and your social media as well. Having those designated pages for your walkers and cyclists and dog walkers as well really helps. It helps with your search engine optimization, your SEO, but also it gives everything you need. You don't need to be repeating this over and over again. You've got it in one place you can direct customers to. They can find you as well through that web page as well. A few more takeaways on your marketing, listing your business on those kind of walking and cycling friendly websites. Cycling UK is a website and a partnership scheme, national. Again, they have lots of resources on their website. Just Google Cycling UK. You can be listed on there as well. They have a directory. Follow on social media, walking and cycling publications and websites and things like that. That all helps with your algorithm as well, that you are kind of linked into these different types of businesses and sites. Collaboration, we've mentioned it a lot today, linking in with others like what you're trying to do, other businesses aiming themselves at walkers and cyclists, tour guides, etc. Take part in walking and cycling events and festivals. We have a number across the Cotswolds. We have Walkers are Welcome Towns, etc. We have the wonderful Cotswold wardens, over 300 of them. Again, tap in and work with them, maybe get them to come and do a walk near your business. And why not create your own walking and cycling events? Work in collaboration again in your local village, your town, your area, and create your own walking festival or your own cycling festival. That can really put your business and your area and your town or village on that map to target with audiences. And if you really want to go the extra mile, because I'm all about experiences, then creating an experience that's bookable, that lasts for a couple of hours, that has food and drink included, that can really lend itself to the audiences that you're trying to attract, is a really good offer to create a bookable experience that people can book on your website, on various different platforms, and that is really going to meet all their needs. I'll leave you now with just a few of the things in our checklist there, but I'm going to hand back to Sally just to see if there's any questions, because we're coming to the end of today's session.
So I've put some links in the chat, and you will notice that Cotswolds Tourism has done a car-free sustainable sort of Good Journey, working with Good Journey toolkit for businesses, which has got imagery in and some good best practice. So again, that could help. If you're not already involved, then just drop us an email or let me know, and I can direct you to my colleague Lindsay, who's leading that campaign. Also working with other businesses, we've got lots of walking companies in the Cotswolds that do not only sort of week tours but also daily tours as well, as cycle companies that drop off bikes. So again, I've put a lot of that in the chat, but there's a lot more we can do to connect you to those businesses. For the attractions on the call today, again, we've worked in the past with a company called